As I was thinking about what we are doing, it really is an opportunity for people to connect with their beingness. We are not conscious of the compartmentalization. We just say, this is who I am, right? Who you are is different depending on the environment that you find yourself in or the people that you find yourself connected with. So I hold myself out as an example. At 71 years old, it's been a long journey. It's been a long journey to self-acceptance. And I think it may be that way for many of us, that we look at the pieces of ourselves and decide, I can show that. No, I can't show that. Is there a danger? How deep is the danger if I show you all of me? Oh, I can show these people this part of me, and these people this part of me, and these people this part of me. And then the question is, how long before you get tired of just compartmentalizing your beingness?
Okay, so somebody said that the sound was going in and out, so I apologize. But
That
hey,
was
y'all.
me.
Okay, we're glad to be back with you on this great Friday evening. If you can hear us, okay, let us know. I think we all right now.
Hey, y'all.
Okay, how's it going, Dr. Sue?
Hey, Carrie Irene, how are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing absolutely great. TGIF, how you doing? Can you hear me?
I hear you.
I said, how you doing?
There's an echo.
I don't hear an echo. I heard one earlier, but I don't hear one now.
Okay, now it's better. Okay, I don't hear it anymore.
So how are you doing?
I'm good. Actually, I'm really good. It is always good to be back with you. I have missed you. I have missed our audience, our fans, our friends. Y'all, Merry Christmas.
Yeah, I know, right? I know they miss us. They miss our faces with our Ola meal poses.
Yes.
Did you ever get your pictures taken by Ola Meals?
I did. It was always the same pose.
Yeah. They were like, sit straight, tilt your head, go back, stick your neck out, put your shoulders up. I'm like, you know what? By this time, I look like a giraffe.
Joynetti, hey.
What's going on? And Monique in the house too. I seen her up there earlier. How y'all doing today? Well, y'all know how we do it here at the late night happy hour with Carrie Irene and Dr. Sue. Whatever comes up, comes out. So we were talking yesterday. For how long we talked yesterday, Dr. Sue? 4 hours?
At least. It's not like we can ever get on the phone like normal people. We were on Zoom, y'all. Never get on Zoom or on the phone like normal people and talk 10 minutes, 15 minutes, even an hour. No, we just go all out.
4 hours. It was 4 hours, 4 hours. Yeah, that's how
and then I remembered, we didn't talk about.
Right, what we were supposed to be talking about.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I forgot to actually put on the scroller. So if you look at the bottom scroller, guys, this is like I want to make sure that anytime we're speaking, if anyone ever wants to talk to us, contact us, get in touch with us about any programs we're doing, that you have the means to do so. Dr. Sue uses her phone number. I use just my website, my email address. So if for any reason you want to collab with us, you want any service, or want to know more about what we do, this is the way to get in contact with us. And towards the end, you'll see that this little thing will change at the bottom, because I'll have scrolling across some of the things that we got coming up in this new year, 2024. So when we were talking yesterday, Dr. Sue asked me what was coming up for me. And I'll be honest, since you said that to me yesterday, I haven't really thought too much more about it. Really thought too much more about it. So we're going to see where this goes today.
I'll tell you what's coming up for me.
We won't even bring that up, and then we'll just go ahead.
I'm going to tell you what's coming up for me, and then I'm going to throw it out there and let you take the ball. How about that?
Okay, let's see what happens.
So what's coming up for me is forgiveness, right? So, and I sat with it because it really was, it caused me to feel some kind of way. Now I keep having these, it's like flashbacks of situations that happened that I said, God, I dealt with that. I forgave them. It's like, well, why does it keep coming up? And why, if it keeps coming up, obviously you didn't do your work in that area, right? So I sat with it, I said I was going to post it, but I didn't. I was just thinking, okay, so why am I having this human experience in terms of not being able to forgive this person? And more than that, catching myself at a point of thinking, I hope something, and then I'll catch myself before I say the thought, but the thought is, I hope they're not happy. Y'all see it, you seeing the real me, right? I'm just
okay. Let me get this third tight, honey. Let me hang on.
Then I'll catch myself because you know I know better. You know I know better. But we our emotions, our beingness, we're not just light. It doesn't matter how much you are in the light and of the light. You can't know the light without knowing the darkness. And in knowing the darkness, when I made a commitment to really move forward on the spiritual path, on the spiritual journey, it meant having to look at some parts of me that I didn't want to look at. And like today, having to say, oh God, there's still this stuff there. I thought I had dealt with it. Well, I thought I dealt with that months ago. But here it is. And I don't even know what the trigger was for it coming up, other than I found myself at the sink and I'm rehashing this incident that happened and thinking, I can't believe you did that. I forgive you, but I can't believe you did. And what I focused on, that I still need some work, a lot of energy around that. I can't believe you did that. I am still in awe of the fact that you engaged in this behavior. And here's the thing, here's the kicker. And you were supposed to be my ace. We were supposed to be like that. Like I fed you, you fed me when we were down in the trenches together. When I was up, you were down. When you were down, I was up, and we supported each other. And yet then and it doesn't matter what the thing was. What matters is that I've forgiven, quote unquote, and I've forgiven, but I still got some shit going on. Because if I didn't, it wouldn't have that kind of energy associated with it. So that's what's coming up for me, Carrie Irene, and I'm just going to step back and let you deal with that.
Wow. You're just gonna set me up like that because you already know I'm not going haywire because I won't walk you through this whole thing, So let's go ahead and preface what I originally had said that was coming up for me, and it wasn't anything in particular. You heard that echo? I didn't hear it. There wasn't anything in particular that was coming up for me in the area of relationships, but relationships was the topic that came up for me immediately when Dr. Sue asked. Most people know I'm not in a relationship, don't plan to be in a relationship anytime soon. And I want it that way, it's intentional. But there are still relationships happening in life every day, the relationship. I was just telling Monique earlier today, like I went out, and most people don't know this. I don't go out very often. I like being at home. I'm gonna have to plug my computer up. I see it dimming already. I like being at home. I feel a lot of energy when I go out. It doesn't matter if I talk to no one, and sometimes I can feel a bit drained when I'm out in public. So there is relationships that go on all the time. Oh, Michelle Payne, PA in the house. I see you out there. I see you.
You see that comment Michelle making?
I did not. I just saw her face pop up on the comment. But we'll go back through them. Angelique, the artist, she's out there too. What's going on? But yeah, but when you think about relationships, we need to. Let me back up. I don't need to tell you what to do. When it comes to relationships, I know that it is necessary for me to be in good contact with myself and to pay deep attention to myself so that the uncovering of my feelings when it comes to being in contact with other people can be redirected back to myself. Because it's something that happens within relationships. We tend to get the residue of other people's wanting, desires, beliefs, expectations on us in some type of way. When we can compartmentalize those things, compartmentalizing isn't always a bad thing because you got to kind of see things for what they were, what they are, and know what is yours, what's not yours, and what are the things that you intentionally are taking on for yourself. Do you have something else on? Because I feel like I hear it on your side.
No, I don't have. My phone is even turned off. I have nothing on.
Weird. But yeah, so when you think about that and you think about the things that, when you think about what someone did and you go through the thought process or the feeling of, I can't believe you did that. What expectation, what value expectation was set that was not met? That's a real question for you.
Well, whether I won't speak in terms of we, I'll talk about me because I know me real well. When I call you friend, I don't call a lot of people friend. And when I call you friend, then I have expectations of me and I have expectations of you. And those expectations are grounded in honesty, integrity, authenticity, support, compassion, all of those, all of those characteristics. And now I'm hearing the feedback. But when any one or more of those are missing, then it causes me to look at you in a way that's kind of cross-eyed, like, what you doing? What's up with this? I'm not understanding it. And I know my brain works in a way that I'm very cerebral, even though I do the energy healing. I try to make sense of what's going on. And the reality is that sometimes within the framework of knowledge that I have, it just don't make sense. And I think that is what, with regard to this specific instance that keeps coming up, I think that I have not yet accepted that I am never going to know what really happened and to be at peace with that, because my brain keeps trying to say, my brain or my ego or whatever is trying to say, well, what happened? I was blindsided by this whole thing. I did not expect it to. I thought we would be friends to the end. I never thought that it would end the way it did. So
was it honesty that was portrayed? I mean, trust that was portrayed, or was it just flat out?
It was a lack of trust. Well,
honesty.
It was a breach of trust, and it also was a lack of honesty.
Gotcha.
I'm not saying that I would not have been hurt, but I could understand if you said, hey, I don't want to be your friend anymore because we just don't roll in the same direction, right? We just ain't going the same place. Our values are in conflict. You don't, in terms of being a friend, you just don't do it for me anymore. Okay,
Right.
at least you're being honest, right? But
Right.
just
Yeah.
to roll out of my life and not give any explanation or not say anything at all when we were best friends for over 8 years.
And just left.
I fed you, you fed me, you lived in my house, we were close, right? Just friends, but we were very close friends. I I know that life changes, people move on, things come in. I'm good with that. And like I had a couple of friends leave me within a 1 year period. I also had some family members leave me in terms of transitioning. And what I said to self is God is moving some things in your life, some things and some people. Not everybody can go with you, and you can't go with everybody, but you have to make your peace. This is a conversation I had with myself. You have to make your peace with life as it is happening. And you have to look not at them, but look at yourself, because what is it that you are learning or you are to learn from this? And
Right.
I learned a couple of things. One is that I had expectations of people that I didn't have a right to have an expectation of. That was one thing.
Yeah.
Um, and so now I'm more mindful of what I'm doing, right? And I also realize, and I'm still learning this, because when you say you got it, then God says, okay, you got this. It came at you this way. You see it, you got it. But now I'm going to send it to you in a different way and see if you got it, right?
Right. Oh
So
yeah.
one of the things that I have learned about myself in the last couple of months is that sometimes I get a little irritated when people don't do things. And you say, hey, this what comes out, and it's all about being authentic and real, right? When people don't
Yeah.
do things the way I want it done, when I want it done, it's like I try from a spiritual place. I know what is happening, and I try to keep it under control. But still, on that human thing, it
Right.
irritates the hell out of me. But I just have to accept that ain't nobody rolling according to my what I need. I mean, it's not that people don't love me. That's not what I'm saying. But who am I to think that you're gonna roll to the left just because I want you to roll to the left? And 9 times out of 10, the way the universe works, I tell you to roll to the left, the universe is gonna take you to the right. It's like, now what you gonna do with that? Like, okay.
But
Uh,
sometimes it just be that way sometimes.
huh?
But I said it definitely be that way sometimes.
So um, I I'm learning to have a sense of humor about life. And I think that from a spiritual standpoint, that's a sign of maturity, because there was a time that I just would have been wiped out by the whole thing. And even if I wasn't wiped out by the person's behavior, I would have been so down on me, because you know better. You know what you're supposed to do. Why are you doing this? But this morning I just said, okay, so this is what's coming up for me today. I'm going to tell Carrie and see what she's going to do with it.
I,
That's exactly what I said.
and I mean, everybody feels that. Everybody can identify with that. When you have built up a relationship with somebody, let me let my volume down sometimes. You built up a relationship with somebody, and they have shown you no other reason than to think that they would do something a certain way. But yet they have options, and then one day they choose to pick something else to do other than what we thought that they were going to do, or other than what we wanted to do. So it's just like, it's not fair of us to allow ourselves to go through bouts of anger, to go through bouts of regret, of just pissed off, of rejection, because someone else chose an option in the world of a million of 13 point what? I mean, how many people in the world? 13.8 billion people in the world.
A lot of them. And
So
I know you're right. I know you're right. And the real is we get pissed off, right? Yeah, you're
yeah,
right. uh, Michelle said, "Fix your face," and I would
that
have to.
was Angelique. That was Angelique.
Los Angeles. Fix your face. Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
So that was what was coming up, and I laughed at myself and said, "Yes, I still have work to do. I've come a long way. I've come a long way, but I still have work to do." And I think I wanted to talk about this because as we move into the new year, I think that it is an opportune time for us to think about who is the me that I be? Who is the me that I be? Who is the me that I want to be? What is it that I'm taking into 2024 with me that I feel very comfortable with? And what am I taking into 2024 with me that I may need to tweak a little bit, may need to do a little bit of work. And that's not a negative. For me, it is a positive to be able to identify an area that can use some refinement, because so often the things that need refinement are in a blind spot. And so if you have an awareness that, oh yeah, that still comes up for you. Oh yeah, you still got that control issue where you want people to jump when you say jump, even if you don't say the words. If you say it in your mind, you're looking at them cross-eyed because why aren't you in the air? Don't you know I want you to jump? So I think the awareness is so necessary. And I also think that for me, when I think of Christmas, as a child, I thought of Christmas presents. I just want all the presents. But now I think of it as an opportunity to have a new birth.
Yeah.
To look at me, look at where I've come from. What have I experienced in these last 11 and a half months? What have I experienced? Where are the areas that need a little tweaking? And where are the areas that I can give myself triple checks because I'm doing pretty good over there?
Yeah.
And I say it that way because, as I explained to one of my clients, perfection is not something that we're ever going to get. And in fact, one of the things that I believe in is that don't strive for perfection. That puts you in a mindset that it sets you up for failure. Strive to be better every day, to be better than I was the day before. If being better than I was the day before means I have an awareness of something within me, because again, these experiences are showing up to teach us something about ourselves. The situation with my friend, at first I was just totally distraught. I was just broken. And I gave myself a day to be in, literally, I gave myself a day to be in that space of just being down and crying. And then I had to come back up out of it because I said two things. One, I said, being authentic means that you have to live what you teach and what you preach. Got to live that, right? And one of the things I teach is feel what you feel. You got to do that in order for the energy to move through your body. Don't stop it. If you stop it, if you don't allow yourself to cry, if you don't allow yourself to get angry, if you don't allow yourself to feel those emotions, then they stay stuck in your body. Being stuck then leads to all kinds of diseases. Notice I emphasize the dis. Your body is not at ease. So what happens? You have sickness, you have pain, you have all of this trauma is lodged in your body. So allow it to flow through you, and then you get up. That's what resilience is about. being able to get up. You may drag yourself the next day.
Mm-hmm.
You have to pull up on something. You may be crying as you attempt to pull up. You may only be able to crawl, but have a mindset that I'm going to keep moving. I am going to get through this, because moving, as long as you're moving, you will get on the other side. Now, here's the thing. This is what I know. You get on the other side, enjoy that I am on the other side, because God has something else for you right around the corner. And that is not for you to be upset or to be scared about. It is the nature of life. It is the nature of existence. I
Yes, it is.
know that I always wanted, as a kid, I thought that I believed in the Cinderella story. I believed in the fairy tales, that the day would come when life would smooth out and I would be happy ever after. And then I remember meeting a young man who was an attorney back in 1980, 81. And one of the things he said to me is, life always deals you something that you're not expecting and are prepared for. So when you have the happy moments, remember, happiness comes in chunks. Enjoy it, savor the flavor, because around the corner, there's another opportunity for you to grow. You know what? At that point, I had no clue what he was talking about, because I was still living the Cinderella story. I know it's gonna get better. I know.
I
And
know it's going to get
it
better.
does, but not the way I thought. It's never going to be a flat line. Well, I take that back. It'll flat line when they say, "Oh, it's over." That's when the flat line comes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's when it comes.
So if
So
there's
I'm glad
somebody
you
in your
brought up
life
blind spots.
that
I want to touch on
you
these blind spots whenever you get done. I want to put a pin in that. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, so if there's somebody in your life that you think you need to forgive, here's the thing. It's not about them. The person that you really need to forgive is you. So
Mhm.
just sit in that space, sit with that.
And I'd also like to offer that sometimes we get forgiveness mixed up with just releasing some things. You know, we go through this forgiveness process, and forgiveness is different to different people, and we need to honor. And different people have different levels of forgiveness, different reasons for forgiveness, different definitions of forgiveness. Forgiveness doesn't mean forget. And, people say you should forgive and forget, but that's just impossible unless you're going to cut out that part of your brain. It just doesn't work that way. So we get in this cycle of trying to think that we haven't forgiven because we remember. And
Yeah.
sometimes it's just that whatever that memory is touching is what needs to be addressed. Not necessarily the forgiveness or the hurt or the whatever, but it's what that reminds you of and what it brings that up for you. And with you, it's about being honest. It's about being authentic and genuine. And I mean, I dare to say that in this point of your life where you're at a pivot, and so that authenticity and being genuine is very important to you because you're settling in this new area of coming into things that you have been lying to yourself about your gifts and how powerful they are and what to use it for and who to use it with, when you are a universal being who needs to just show up and allow those gifts to show up in
Yeah.
time. People have to do that as well. So a lot of times when people show up in a way that we don't want them to show up, we're just in the vacuum of a shift. Because if you're going through a shift, everything around you is shifting.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you come into who you are a lot quicker, things are revealed to you in a very quick manner. So a lot of times, if people being dishonest to you, we're like, you could have just let me know or something like that. But if you're in that drastic time in your life and things are pivoting and shifting quickly, things around you get caught up in that. And that's when I'm glad you said blind spot, because blind spot is just something that's simply so close to you that you tend to
And you
miss
can't see it.
you tend to miss it because it's so close. That's what the phrase means, can't see the forest for the trees. It's because, if I put my hand right here, as close as it is, it's the one thing that I cannot focus on.
Yeah.
I can't see the lines. I can't see the color. I can't see the shapes. I can't see anything about my hand until I create some space between me and it and see if it what it really is. So it's just, I like that you brought that up, the flat line at the end, not the middle. Yeah. Like Michelle, you choose how to remember it too. I train memories now way differently than in the past. Nobody can tell you how to remember. And that's so true. And how you remember will tell you what you need to work on. Because we can remember two different people can be traumatized in two similar or same ways. But one person is dealing with abandonment because their trauma triggers the fact that no one's there to save them. And another people can be dealing with family issues or trust issues because they've trusted the person that violated them. One might not have any trust issues because they're dealing with more so abandonment. So they may trust people too much and too quickly if they think someone's going to be there for them for a long time. So it's just like, it gets difficult sometimes to actually even seek help because we think that everybody's supposed to, do things in a certain way, and it's just not true. And like you said, you gotta, and Angelique mentioned also, you gotta allow yourself that time to cry, to cuss, to kick, to scream, but you need to do it in the moment that it's appropriate and don't take it further past that situation. That's what causes trauma. Trauma is when we take the symptom of what happened and create a lifestyle out of it.
I like that. That is so true. I was thinking as you were speaking that the stories that we tell, the narratives that we create in our mind, related to what Michelle was saying, the way we choose to. I don't even know that we necessarily choose to remember, but the way we remember things, usually there certainly is a grain of truth in the story that we tell ourselves, but there may not be more than a grain because we may have embellished it. And the longer the time period from the time the incident occurred to the present moment, the longer that time period, the more we forget what really happened. And then we tell ourselves a different story about how it went down. And related to that, even if it's close in proximity, what we have to remember is that we are seeing, related to what you were saying, we're seeing the incident, or we're seeing the situation through the lens of our own experience, our own mind. So two people looking at the same thing are going to experience it and or see it differently, and they therefore will tell themselves a different story about what they see.
Yeah.
So when you sit with yourself, or when I sit with myself, I have to ask myself, is there another way of looking at this? Is there another way of looking at this? Because I acknowledge that especially if it's something emotional, if it's something that really impacted me on an emotional level, I know my brain was flooded with all kind of chemicals. My vision is like being intoxicated.
Yeah.
My vision is not clear. My brain is not clear. It ceases to be what I'm seeing and turns into what I think I'm seeing based on the hurts or whatever my experience was in the past. So we see the present through the past as we attempt to move into the future, when the reality is the only thing that exists is right now. That's all, right now.
Yeah. Yeah. And you would just like that intoxication that we have. And when we go through a lot of things like that, we start to kind of grasp at the cliche things instead of doing the deeper work. And like you said, a lot of times we feel like we go through the forgiveness process, but we still stuck on I still can't wrap my mind around the fact that you did that. And that's that drunken part, because it kind of lowers your inhibitions back down to the root of why you were upset to begin with. And it's not a bad thing. That just shows you I need to spend a little more time here and see what else in my life is causing this to be touched. Because if this happened 15 years ago, then it's the issue, not the incident.
Yeah.
And you need to deal with what actually is being touched and poked and prodded inside of you instead of what poked you and what prodded you. It's like, because our vision, when we talk about, what we see and, what we deal with and what we see internally, even our eyes, this isn't something that there's something out there and it's coming through my eyes so I can see it. There's something in here that is causing me to be able to see what's out here. So if it starts inside, and we're seeing outside and we're experiencing the outside world from the inside, if we are bothered by what happens out here, it's because it's touching something that has been going
Yeah.
on inside of you. So we got to revert that. And which is why, I said originally that I want to talk about relationships. It's because how we interact with people truly is a reflection of how clean we've cleaned up the stuff that's happening to us. Those experiences that we've stored with the smells, sounds, touch, taste. Some of us are traumatized just by food. So I saw a post on Facebook the other day that said, "What childhood food traumatized y'all the most?" And so it was like liver and spam and bologna, right? And it causes this thing because it reminds you of the things that makes up what you're disgusted by. So it's not always the person, it's what the person represented. So when we forgive the person, we can let them off the hook. But now we have to put ourselves on that same hook to figure out why we got hooked to begin with,
Yeah.
so that we can dissipate what caused the pain without the person ever having to be present. And then that takes the responsibility of you really having to forgive anybody. It really does. I'm gonna miss 9 comments. Dr. Antoinette Marie. And Teresa, I waved at you earlier, but I wanted to actually say, thank you for joining us tonight. She said it was fish for me. My grandmother used to make me eat it, even when I expressed I did not like it. So yeah, such reflection, reflection. Relationships really pull out things you couldn't get it from by your own perspective alone. You couldn't get from your own perspective alone. Absolutely. Always another way. And it is. It's always another way of looking at it. Because if you can look at anything, any kind of way, we create that way, which means there's always another way to look at it. There's always that way to be evolved and expand around something so that you can settle into the truth of it for you. That's one thing that I loved about the book, Outwitting the Devil. Napoleon Hill would ask the devil a question. The devil would say something, and then he would rebuttal with what he thought it meant. He said, "Is this right?" And the devil would say, "It's not right, but it is true."
Mm-hmm.
Because there is no right and wrong. It's what's true for you. Because what's true for you now may be true, not true for you tomorrow. What was true for me last week is not true for me right now. Even last week's not true for me right now. And so we need to know that the truth is in an evolving thing, just as we are. So when you start to feel those posts and things that's happened in your past, think about the feeling of it and figure out what's happening in your present, because that's probably where you need to start, because it is a delayering process. It got poked back there and it got started back there, but see what it is now in your life that is poking you in those places so you can really deal with the truth. It's not right, but it's true. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was like that phrasing because he kept saying that, and Napoleon Hill kept saying, "Isn't that right?" And the devil would always say, "It's not right, but it's true." It was a eureka. It's because it's only true to us. Like a belief is what? Something that you continuously practice that you think is evident, true, or accurate. Same thing with truth. It's the same thing with truth. We have to define that for ourselves. Earlier I was thinking, and it's just phrase popped in my head is, don't define me. And this is me talking to me. This isn't me talking to you saying that you're defining me. But look at yourself in the mirror sometimes and say, don't define me from the limited capacity of your vocabulary right now.
Ooh.
Because, yeah, we die every day, right? We
Yeah.
experience every
Yeah.
day, right? And I'm better than what I am right now today, because I know tomorrow I'm going to learn something different and something different. It gives me something to look forward to every day. So even when in my worst hours, my darkest times, I know that I refuse to limit myself to the pain that I feel right now. I'm not going to do that to myself, because I have felt worse, I felt better, and all of those things are in the past. So I know this too shall pass, not because I'm looking for something better. I know other things are going to come that's going to may put me in despair too. But what I do know is that nothing lasts forever. And what I do know It's that I have the capability to get through anything that comes up for me because I've done it. I've done that my whole life. I got a 100% success rate. We're here. And we have the possibility to expand every single day our definition of who we are, what we can accomplish, what we can withstand, what we can go through, what we can, you know, and then it gives us the power to cheer other people on from a space of I know you can do it. Like
Yeah.
I know you can do it. 100% I know you can do it. And baby, do not define me from your limited vocabulary. You can't, well, and we have to mainly say that to ourselves because when we say, I can't believe they did that to me, yeah, you can believe it. You believe it.
Yeah. That's why you said it, because you can believe it. You just don't want to.
You don't want to believe it, but just believe it. And just
Yeah.
let it be true. Don't let it be right or wrong. Just let it be what's true. That's just what's true. We are
I
here and
want to I want to
absolutely.
connect with what you said about not defining me from your limited vocabulary. I would
Mhm.
add to that. And again, looking in the mirror at yourself, don't define me by somebody else's limited vocabulary, by
Yeah.
somebody else's limited expectations, experiences. I had the occasion today to speak with two different individuals, and both of them talked about their mothers, and without repeating the conversation, it basically was my interpretation. They wanted a relationship with the mother that the mother was not capable or is not capable of giving them. And so there is this residue of feeling about self. And even though both persons said, I'm okay with it, I'm okay with it. What I know, I thought about you, Carrie. You,
Uh-oh.
you, you, lean in, y'all. I'm leaning in. I thought about you because remember, I don't even remember what it was I was talking about, but you've said that 4 times. I thought, oh, wake up. That was a wake up call.
Not only do I not like to repeat myself, I don't like when other people repeat themselves.
But I don't know where you were coming from, but for me, it was like, damn, I didn't even realize I had said it 4 times. If I
Yeah.
said it 4 times, I probably said it 4 more times and 4 more times. And if I
Yeah.
said it 4 times to her, I probably said it 4 times to somebody else too. So
And you
I
were
am up
sending that
in this
out
energy.
ahead.
I'm caught up in the story. I'm caught up in the narrative. And I'm telling myself one thing when the reality is I'm lying to me. I'm lying to me. So I didn't say to either one of them, you're lying to yourself. I said, here's a perspective. If it's
Mhm.
still coming up for you, then that's indicative of the fact that perhaps you need to look there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Perhaps you need to look in that space.
Horrible about letting people be horrible if you remove yourself out of their experience. What's so horrible about that? Horrible people are supposed to be liars are supposed to lie. Narcissists are gonna narcissist. Abusers are going to abuse. And if we can honor the universal laws that everything has an opposite, we're not going to eradicate these things. What we can do is decide of what part we add energy to.
Yeah.
Period. That's the only choice we got. When it says work out your own salvation, boom. That's what it's talking about. It don't mean work out, be about salvation and save him from being a narcissist and save him from hurting himself and save him from that. You be a light and you be an example for all of the world to see. Let your light shine before men, all the things. But it didn't say get out there and go do repair on everybody else's light so they can shine. It didn't say that. It didn't say that. And nowhere will you find it. Nowhere will you find it. It says let your light so shine. So as we do that, the only way to do that is make sure our batteries are kept up. Make sure we know where the on and off switches are. Make sure that everything that we need is in a place where we can access it at all times. And anything that's in the way that will obscure our reach for light is out removed. Removed. It is just I tell patients that all the time. Do you realize you've mentioned this several times? Our language and word choice reveals so much. And the reason why I mentioned that she was saying it was not because it was getting on my nerves. It was because I felt her sending out a signal, because every time I talked to her, there would be other small nuances that got added to the pot that gave the same energy of the conversation we were having. The water leak, a conversation with family members that didn't go the way it was supposed to go, or someone didn't show up when they were supposed to. The beds weren't comfortable enough. Nothing was hard, nothing was bad, nothing was horrible. But it was just those little things that were just annoying, and they start to build up until all of a sudden you think this been one hell of a year. This been the worst year ever. But it wasn't even bad. Nothing was bad. It's just that only the bad things are the things that you talked about all year.
Yeah.
And that's what happens. And I love Dr. Sue too much. Dr. Sue's smile is way too good.
I so appreciated that, because honestly, it was like somebody throwing cold water in my face saying, "Wake up." It's like I was caught up in my own narrative. And I didn't realize every time I told an aspect of the story, I was adding more energy to it. And when you said that, it was like, ooh, I had to, wow, yeah. I wonder how many times I really said it, right?
Yeah.
But it was enough that statement was enough to shock me into being fully present with myself and seeing what I was doing and how I was doing it. And also, it was enough to disrupt that behavior.
Yeah.
So sometimes as you say, we can't see it when the hand is in front of our face. We can't see it.
Yep.
And it takes someone else looking at the same thing and perhaps presenting it to you in a way that you can see what you couldn't see. Just you get truly lost in the forest. All you need to be doing is looking at this one tree. You don't even need to see all the other trees.
All that stuff, and you have to have the right perspective of it, because perspective is when you take your focus and your knowledge and use it for your higher good. You got to have certain things to have a certain perspective, because if you know, like for instance, if you like honestly, if you know, like if I sit right here, I can see that front door. Now I know if I move this way, I can see the front door and the laundry room. It depends. What is it that you're trying to see here? What is it that you're trying to pay attention to here? And we have to position ourselves in a way to do that. It doesn't mean you got to remove yourself from bad things. You have to position yourself for what you want. And it's two different energies. But when you do that and you start to give your power and your focus and your energy to things that you want, it doesn't mean that the bad things fall away. It's that you don't give them the opportunity to grow. So they're still going to come and go as they would naturally in life. But that doesn't mean they have to metastasize to the point that it's the only thing that you see. Negativity is a cancer. But so is positivity.
Yeah.
Both of them can grow. They really can. Angelique said, wow, I had a relationship workshop class on Wednesday. And the facilitator said something very similar to what you said about other people's light. They have to recognize themselves. I was actually talking, I don't remember who I said this to. I've said this to a couple of people though. But one of the compliments that I have given to people before that has not been received very well, I must say, and it's not my responsibility how people receive things. But if someone were to ask me, how do you know that like we were meant to be? And my response is because I've seen more in myself than I've ever seen in situations that I've had with you. And I've seen in myself some things that I really needed to see. That is alignment. There's no better feeling than alignment. For instance, drive down the road and it happened to me today. I'm driving down the road. I was on my way to Kroger. This lady was trying to get out because she was trying to go the same way we were going, but we were so close to the light that she needed to go across and go that way, but get in the turn lane. And I'm just sitting there jamming to my music. I never looked at it. I never said, because if you flag somebody out and they get hit, it's your fault. Just a little tidbit for you people out there to be flagging people on. But I never flagged it. But I just kept looking this way to see if there were cars coming. So I stopped. I left space between me and the car in front of me. And she started inching out. And I knew where she was going. And I was just singing, I was dancing and whatever. And as soon as she went by me, she looked at me and she did it. And I looked at her and I said, there's nothing like alignment. Those little bitty moments. In that moment, you know what that meant to that lady. Because we've all been sitting there at trying to pull out for how long, and ain't nobody trying to let you out, and you're right there at the light, and you're thinking about, I'm just gonna go all the way around the gas station, go out the other way, go to the light, come back around, and just do it that way. But when you get that window, that small window of knowing that this moment is my moment, it ain't nothing like it. So when I say to you that we have aligned and people take it the wrong way, we can take it the wrong way. That'll let you know when you do something good, when you do something great for somebody, you think you done some shit. I did that, and they don't receive it or take it. How do you feel? That's a good way to know if there's something within you that needs to be discarded. Is when something good happens and someone don't receive the good, and you don't say, "Oh, well," and it's still good to me. But a lot of times, like, we let other people not receiving our good. Like Angelique said, you can't give somebody a light. You can't go over there like, you turn that light on. You can't. You can only be light. But the more you give compliments like that, like telling people how much you see in you because of them, then they'll start to see the same. They really will. Because they'll see that when they start to see good things in life in general, it means it's good in them. And the more good that you recognize, because it's there all the time. It ain't popping up all of a sudden. Oh my God, I can't believe how many good things happen today. Good things happen every day. Every day. And it's a lot of them. I mean, it's a lot of them. Enough to make you cry. There are things that I'll be driving down the road, something just I mean, I'm a cry. Okay. I'm a crier. But there's nothing so sweet as alignment. So when you see things that make you happy, embrace that. But when you see things that give you an opportunity to let go of something negative, that's sweeter than anything positive, because you've just had the opportunity to remove something that doesn't have to bother you anymore. You have the opportunity to create some space for more good. You have the opportunity to free somebody else of their tether, because it's a lot of energy to be mad at people. I don't even allow people to be mad at me with me. Yeah, you can be mad at me without me, but I'm not gonna allow you to be mad at me with me. You hear me? You gotta go over there to do it, because if you come anywhere close to me, I'm like, "How you doing?
Yeah.
How you doing? You want a hug? I love you." Because you don't tell me how to feel. You don't tell me who to love, because I know love don't operate that way, and neither does spirituality. You're gonna grow. It doesn't matter. You're going to grow. You're going to expand. You're going to either learn how clean you can be, or you can learn how mean you can be.
Yeah.
We're going to learn. You're going to learn today. You're going to learn how long you can be sad, or you can learn how freeing it feels to choose not to be sad. You're going to learn. You're going to expand. Spirituality will happen, but you decide how you take this trip and what it's going to feel like. You really do. We can't keep carrying these loads of the past. We can't keep carrying anything, not even the good of the past. A lot of us have, in part of my language, a lot of us have fucked up relationships because we're comparing who we with to who we were with.
Ooh, girl, you going there? Oh,
Yeah.
You went there.
And it's just impossible. None of us are the same. That's why we have these fingerprints. Identical twins can have does have different personalities. They don't have the same DNA. We have to acknowledge what is, so that we don't cheapen it.
Yeah.
You cheapen what is by comparing to what was or what used to be or what could be or what this person had. But if you really look at how well taken care of you are, man, it's a lot of things you can sweep off the table. And the things that are left on the table are things you can do something about. They really are. Well, golly, we at the top of the hour, ain't we? I was talking, wasn't
Yeah, this has been good. I've
Been
missed
good.
it. I'm glad we're back. I just want to say two things. One is that one of the most difficult lessons for me to embrace is that it's not my responsibility, it's not my purpose, and I don't have the ability to change anyone.
Yeah.
And related to that, I had to just embrace that God has put me on a specific journey to do a certain thing or things. And my responsibility is to do that. I'm not responsible for how a person receives it or if they receive it. That's their stuff. It's like I always think of life as being on a track, like an athletic field track. I'm going to stay in my lane. In my lane, I am to be the best person I can be. I'm to be kind. I'm to be generous. I am to be love. Now, in your lane, you may have some other stuff. Now, if I talk to you about love and you're not into that space, I'm okay with that because I'm doing what I am being called to do. And that was really hard because I used to want to, it's like, can't you see? Can't you see? Can't you see?
Oh, yeah, right.
But you can't shake anybody into seeing, and you can't make anybody see. We have never been able to convince anybody to have a different perspective than they have, right? Here's the thing. This was the lesson that I learned. Anytime a person changes, number one, change is not transformation. That's the first thing. Transformation is more permanent. Change is temporary. Change is I am adapting to this situation. But I can't make you change just because I want you to change, right? And even though you can see a need, unless and until the desire to make that transition comes from within, we can talk all day long. You still in your lane and I'm in mine, and you still gonna run your race. And I learned I'm gonna allow you to, because when I say I love you, because that's what God is telling me to say, and be, I've done what I am called to do, and I let it go. And it doesn't matter. I have a son, and sometimes it's real hard to keep my mouth shut. But my son is an adult. He's running his own race. And so I allow him, I pray for him, I love him, but I allow him to run his own race because we come here by ourselves. Even as if you are a twin or quintuplet or whatever, you still come into this world one by one by one. One by one. And you're going to go out the same way, right? And so in between, you have to do what you're here to do. I made the commitment. I'm going to go where you tell me to go, do what you tell me to do, say what you tell me to say. And when I do that, if you receive it, I am so happy. If you don't receive it, I am so happy. If you're in between, I am so happy. Why? Because I finally learned my purpose, my role is to do what I am being led to do and not to try to convince you of anything else. My last words.
I say. Y'all, thank y'all for being here with us tonight. This has felt good. This is so free flowing and so, I don't know. I can't make you love me if you don't. I like that's a good song. That's a real good song. But I love you, and ain't nothing you can do about it.
Me too.
And we got a lot coming up for y'all this coming year. Just drop some dates. New Year's Eve. I've talked to several people about this already. We are doing a midnight meditation. Dr. Sue done convinced me. I think we're gonna do 3 of them.
3 time zones, y'all.
was just gonna do my
for
little
the East End,
CST,
and we're gonna roll it right on over into the West Coast.
So I was just gonna do CST. So we are gonna do Eastern Standard Time will be first, then CST, and then PST. So we're gonna have a meditation marathon on New Year's Eve. So get in where you fit in. The link will be floating around. We're thinking that since 2024, the price is going to be $20.24. So I will be dropping that link soon. If you want more information, just DM us or comment or send us a message, email us. Our contact numbers and emails are all scrolling at the bottom. Also, we're going to be doing a masterclass February the 17th. It's going to be called Everyday Alchemy. Some people have already heard me talk about Everyday Alchemy. I've actually done this class before in the Girls Powerhouse Network. I did the class for the ladies. It's in the book collaborative, but I'll be joined with DrSue on doing the next one. So that link will be coming up soon. I look forward to dropping that. That one's going to be, yeah, I mean, you ain't gonna want to miss a meditation either, but this masterclass right here is gonna be talking about some really good stuff because we really want to get into. We come on here and we talk about a lot of stuff, you know, expanding and spirituality and the chakras and energy and charge and all these things. We want to make sure that we have this space to where we can talk about these things in very layman terms and put them in practical ways so that when you leave the master class, you can directly impact your life immediately. You don't have to wait. You ain't got to do a challenge. You ain't got to do a fast, nothing like that. You can there will be some tool that will stand out for you that you can apply to your life immediately. That is a guarantee. And the only reason it doesn't elevate you in some ways if you choose not to do it. I guarantee that. So look for those dates. We're going to be dropping those soon. I'm going to play this video. This is for the meditation. But keep in mind at the end, I did put the time for Central Time. That's just the Central Time. We are adding 2 more times. We're going to add the Eastern Time and the Pacific Time. So thank you guys again for rocking with us tonight. We hope to see y'all back next week. Where, you know, happy hour, like not happy hour, but Carrie Irene DrSue. So what comes up, comes out.
Comes out.
Love you, love you, love you.
Okay. All right. No, fool. Come on, no, oh, yeah. He gonna listen to this next song right here.